the next level of assumption understanding. Matthew 9:27-31. As Jesus went on from there, 2 blind men followed him, calling out, "Have mercy on us." When he had gone indoors, the blind men came to him, and he asked them, "Do you believe that I am able to do this?" "Yes, Lord," they replied. Then he touched their eyes and said, "According to your faith, let it be done to you." And their sight was restored. Jesus warned them sternly, "See that no one knows about this." But they went out and spread the news about him all over that region. The state of assumption is the prelude to absolutely everything that manifests. When the visualization of what you wish to manifest has been done in the correct way and in a conscious way, it has been experienced as something real or as something that has already happened. The individual who visualizes what he wants in a correct way actually hacks his mind, assuming that what he experienced on his psychic, subtle, and mental plane is the truth. So, when what has been experienced on the subtle and mental plane is assumed to be something real, there is no other option for it to be the way in which the individual has experienced it in his mind, that is, real. Therefore, the real is nothing more than what is interpreted in our mind as such, and when it is interpreted as real on our mental plane, we assume it as such. Now, if we are not manifesting the reality that we desire on our material plane, does that mean that we have assumed that reality that we don't really desire as real? That is, since everything that is manifesting is what we have chosen to experience as real. The fact that what we are experiencing doesn't satisfy us is for no other reason than that, without us realizing it, we have identified ourselves with what we don't want. Thereby, we have validated as something real. This occurs due to the identification of ourselves with our thoughts, which are the result or consequence of the programming that manipulates and dominates us. So, this programming ends up telling us what things are and what they are not. And we, being so used to this programming and having conceived it as reality for a long time, we identify it and validate it as reality. Or in other words, we assume it as real. So, assumption is something we are constantly doing all the time. We are assuming everything that is constantly happening in our lives, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it is something positive or if it is something negative for us. It doesn't matter if it is something that is going to do us good or if it's going to hurt us. The universe doesn't understand good, bad, positive or negative things, since the universe only speaks in the language of energy, and vibration is each of the ideas with which something can be expressed within this universal energy language. Therefore, everything that we assume as real, and therefore as ours, will be expressed in a frequency of vibration that the universe will take and return to us in the same way we have given it to it. The universe assuming, therefore, that what we have given it is what we are, and that, therefore, it is what we want, since it is what we have assumed. If we assume something, that means the universe responds to. The universe is actually like the genie in a magic lamp, which, in a much more literal way than we believe, grants us anything we want. Or in other words, whatever we assume. We live constantly assuming the projection of reality that we experience in our mind, either in a conscious way or in an unconscious way. When the individual is being guided by his ego, which is made up of all the programming that the individual has received since childhood, the individual is unconsciously assuming multiple concepts and projections of reality. Since this programming that we are all full with from an early age does not question itself. In fact, this programming generally protects itself to stay alive, avoiding questioning or the possibility that other alternative realities may exist than its own. In this way, The individual, who is guided by his ego's programming, assumes that the reality that his ego's programming makes him project is the truth and cannot be changed. But this is false, since the beginning of the reality that each of us individually experience begins within. It is never given from the outside. This means that everything, absolutely everything, is possible. Being in the same way, like everything, absolutely everything, is as true as it is false. All possibilities are valid. It is just a question of which of those possibilities is the one we accept as ours and assume as our reality. Thereby, when the individual is not satisfied with his reality, he must make a deep and probably very painful introspection to find out what the individual is accepting as real and what, at the same time, is being counterproductive for him. Since, in one way or another, it is the same individual who is choosing to assume both what is working against him and what is working in his favor. So, everything that we are manifesting, we have assumed before within our mind, and we have chosen whether that corresponds to us or doesn't correspond to us. Thus, without realizing it, of those thoughts that appear in our minds, we end up assuming as ours what we feel identified with, whether good or bad. But it is us, by becoming conscious and observing what happens in our minds, how we can begin to change and control the things we assume are ours and the things we don't. Simply paying attention and not letting the mind take control of what we assume, since we are the ones who assume, not our mind. Our mind is just the tool with which we generate reality. Then, the observer of what happens within the mind accepts or rejects what appears within it. Being the observer who does this, a conscious observer who has gone from letting others assume his reality for him to assuming his own reality for himself. Then, whoever goes from the state of unconsciousness, in which he is not aware that he is assuming everything that happens to him, to the state of choosing what he assumes or what he doesn't, is an alchemist. Since it transmutes from unconsciousness to consciousness, from not choosing what you assume to realizing that you are assuming all the time, therefore becoming a free individual who assumes what he wants. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. The New Alchemist. If I can create, then you can create. If you can do it, then I can do it.